beautiful souls, and welcome back to Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive. For those of you who are new here, my name is Erin Chandler. I am an intuitive guide, psychic medium, healer, author, and teacher. If you wish to connect with me for a private session to find your note in the orchestra, the instrument you play, whether it's intuitive guidance, mediumship, or opening up the blueprints and the galactic starseed families, I am being told right now to highlight for somebody on here, please feel free to connect with me at my website. You can find the link for that in the video description box below. So first things first, happy full moon in sun sign of Sagittarius. I want to really highlight this because the full moon videos that I put out were for the moon side of the full moon. So as in all things, there is a light and a dark aspect. The moon, the feminine aspect and the receptivity is typically the emotions. So the moon rules the deep emotive, the subconscious areas. Some call it the darkness. Some call it the receptivity of the yin. There's also the other dual aspect or dual nature, or what is also at play is the sun sign that the full moon is rising in. So this full moon is in Sagittarius. I was up at 4 a.m. for this completely unintentionally. However, I recognize that it was necessary, and a light that came through this was just the fact my daughter Ava is wanting to highlight the fact of the duality of the masculine and the feminine, the polarities. One is neither right nor wrong. One requires the other, just like the sun and the moon. She says this is something that we highlight constantly, particularly on the 3D earth plane, in the duality and the nature of all things, holding one polarity or both. She says, in the full moons, when we have it rising in a sun sign, we often look at the sun as action, assertiveness, and we look at the moon as being ruled by the feminine. It's watery, it's intuitive, it's where we get to illuminate that which is not necessarily seen by the shadows that are cast with the sunlight. So the opposition of these two is actually powerful when you're working with moons to assess both sides. The reason that this is important is if we look at the full moon in Sagittarius, it's a sun sign. What is Sagittarius? What are they ruling? They're ruling philosophy, adventure, exploring, open-mindedness, taking risks, going outside our comfort zone. However, because that's the sun sign that full moon is rising in, if it's the moon and it's illuminating the deep watery emotions of the subconscious, it's actually illuminating the things that have stopped us from taking that nature or those elements of fire where it's action, joy, exuberance, all of those fun, exciting, bubbly things is what I'm hearing. So the moon sign that the full moon rose in is actually illuminating all of those different things because we're being asked to step into the sun sign. So you'll see that the moon is illuminating for the sun what's stopping it from exploring, being adventurous, taking risks, and having joy. So one may attune to it like that. This is an important aspect to understand because we all have within us feminine and masculine energy. Some of us are more predominantly feminine, some of us are more predominantly masculine. And this has nothing to do with male or female in any capacity. This is the natural flows and polarities of all energy. I'm being reminded, look at quantum physics. Quantum physics could basically explain all energy. And what are you and what am I? We are energy. We have polarity. We have duality. We both give and receive. We emit and transmit. All of these different aspects. We can either stand steadfast or we can be flexible and move like the willow. It's both and there is a season. I'm hearing to everything, turn, turn, turn. I think that's the Beatles or Paul McCartney. Forgive me because I am not entirely sure, but it's seasons. Seasons is coming up. Everything has its season. Now here's how this relates to what happened at 4 a.m. this morning on the Sagittarius full moon. What do you do when you wake up in the middle of the night and you know something is important and it's in the stillness and the silence and the quietness? We meditate. Oftentimes when I meditate, this is where time becomes an illusion. Time's like a linear measurement. So if we look at masculine energy, the sun sign of Sagittarius, that assertiveness is considered linear. It's forward motion. Whereas the moon sign, or the feminine polarity, is considered circular and watery. Those are another two different aspects. So if we look at the subconscious of the Gemini, which is the twins, right? That is the sign that the moon, full moon, was rising in for the moon aspects of it. It's that circular patterning, the things that are keeping us stagnant, the things we need to do in order to, I want to break free, in order to break free into that Sagittarian, Jupiterian energy, because Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. I don't know why, but there's a very positive aspected trine is what I am hearing right now. If you follow your heart, Spirit is saying it's a very positive aspected forward movement. If you follow your heart, that's because Sagittarius, even though it is a mutable sign, it is also a very masculine polarity, and it is a fire element. I'm hearing it's simply highlighting and differentiating the different aspects that are at play right now in the planetary transiting systems. This is a huge, massive inner child work for some people, epiphanies and awareness for other people. Some people are like, yep, there it is. I'm going out to play and adventure and explore. The reason why we did the Gemini full moon readings in three separate waves, three separate sections, it's because it marks different places that people are on the holy trinity of the self. And this isn't just a one-time thing. We move through these different aspects of transcendence all the time. We're always moving to another level, spiraling up, whether you're spiraling in the cube transcendence or whether you're spiraling up in the circular patterns. I'm seeing somebody on here. You feel like you've been spiraling down into the ground is what I'm hearing your higher self say. I feel like I've been spiraling down into the ground. And I am also seeing at the bottom of the ground where you've been spiraling down into, I actually see you with a bow and arrow looking straight up with the full moon circular right up above the hole that you've been spiraling down into, and you shoot right up, and your arrow, follow your arrow wherever it points. It shot up to the moon, hits the moon, and you literally ride up the cord like it was nothing. So whoever that message is for, that feels like you've spiraled down into the rock bottom or whatever that is, one, there's nowhere to go but up. Two, think of the Slinkies. I don't know if you guys remember Slinkies, but that's the image I'm getting right now. They were popular, I want to say in the 80s. And the Slinky would go down the stairs, and you'll notice you could slink it up or down. It could go both ways. It wasn't like it could only slink one way. You could slink it all different ways. I'm being shown that spiraling down as the Slinky, or like a spring. It's more like a spring, but the Slinky is the thing that comes to my mind. And I remember tie-dyed Slinkies. That's a specific reference for somebody on here. The tie-dyed Slinky. And it's like the Slinky's now rebounding and going back up. Your rise up and out of the hole is so easy and effortless. But the only reason it's easy and effortless is, one, you allowed yourself to spiral down. You will never go where you cannot be rescued from. I'm seeing the rescue card. I'm seeing a cross. So this might be for somebody who has a religious background or a Christian background. And I'm hearing a song by Lauren Daigle. Oh, what's that song? You Say I Am Love When I Am Feeling Weak. I can't remember the words, but it's such a beautiful song. I'll link that in the video description box below, because it's very uplifting. Now I'm hearing the Halo song from Beyonce. I can see a halo. That's the song I'm hearing now. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of song references for this, but make no mistake, that arrow is literally stuck on the moon, stuck in the moon. Man on the moon is a reference for that as well. And it's like there's a cord on the arrow, and you just slide right up the cord like it was nothing. Like it was nothing, my friend. Even though there was a deep and dark struggle, at the bottom of the struggle, I feel like you were releasing. You had to go down to the bottom to release allegiances. These are allegiances to limitations or perceptions or people or ideas or communities. Oftentimes, I often find myself renouncing any contracts that I have made knowingly or unknowingly to any groups, individuals, communities that do not serve my highest good. We are asked to do that during this process. When we illuminate something, we often find we have unspoken contracts that we have made through ourselves with others. Sometimes they are contracts that help and support us, but sometimes they actually hold us back, dim our lights, or keep us smaller than and keep us down in the rock bottom or spiraling down to the bottom of the pit is what it feels like. Oftentimes we're in the bottom of the pit for the completion and culmination of releasing those things. And you'll notice the bottom of the pit is dark. They're showing me the full moon coming over and cascading, illuminating all the light, perfectly balanced when you are at the rock bottom, at the bottom of that pit. These are such beautiful imagery and signs and omens and symbols and songs. They're all moving together as one, says my daughter Ava. I'm getting the initials B like boy, B. So it could be for a Bob. I'm also getting the initial R for somebody. So this could be your initials. It could be somebody you've been struggling when you're dealing with them. It also could be a loved one's past. I'm also getting the letter E for somebody on here as a specific reference. Do not make those fit. It will ping for you immediately if you know who those are for. I'm also getting a J on that too, just for double reassurance and reference I'm hearing. So the J is likely connected to one of those other initials. I'm being told you need to follow your arrow wherever it points. Do not be afraid to weep. Do not be afraid of the dark, because the moon is literally illuminating fully, completely everything that's in there, everything that's at the bottom, every allegiance that you have created in this lifetime. I'm also hearing in another life, in other lives as well, because oftentimes those are continuations. If we were to look at past lives in the linear aspect, indeed they are past, present, and future. However, when you take the linear line of that masculine polarity and you move it into the feminine polarity, it becomes the circular pattern of energy, which means all of these things are happening at the same time. What we are uprooting, healing, and releasing allegiances to is happening in real time in this life, but it also spans into and around things from our past in our subconscious, because technically they're all happening at once. And that's actually why for some of you, this time frame, this momentum, this moon, all of this energy, it's huge. A Jupiterian energy is so expansive, my friends. I'm hearing every day I'm shuffling. If you're a shuffler, this energy, Jupiterian energy, it literally moves you forwards. It's like you can't shuffle when this energy is here. That's why it's being illuminated. With that being said, I'm also being told there are those of you who naturally move in that fire energy of Jupiterian energy, always expanding, always looking deeper, further, higher, new horizons. Some of you in that state, I'm being told you do need to rest. There is massive amounts of shifts happening right now. We are morphing from one into another. And it takes a lot out of us. It takes a lot out of us emotionally, psychologically, physically, and spiritually as we move through spiritual ascension, as we change and evolve. They all hold different phases, seasons. I'm being reminded of the seasons. Some of you are called to action where you've been sitting on your, oh my gosh, I'm being referenced, something my grandfather used to say. He used to have this saying where he used to say, that person sucking the hind tit. Forgive me if that is offensive to anybody, but it really is a metaphor of somebody slinking to the back, not taking action, hiding, trying to get the last of the milk, not having to be moved forward to the front to move their own milk, like intentionally staying at the back of the line. that doesn't do this term justice, but that's coming through very, very clearly. It's somebody who's a lazy, unmotivated, feels like it's apathy. Those are the people that are literally I'm seeing them being plucked off the nipple, the hind's nipple, plucked off the hind nipple and moved out into the light of day to begin their assertion or making action or making plans, all of those beautiful things, and actually exploring, adventurous. And yes, it will be uncomfortable for them. However, it's massive growth and evolution. So that's one of them. I also see the other aspect of you needing to rest. Those of you who are following in attunement or alignment with that needing to rest because you are such a go-go individual, or you've been doing a lot of work, it's been nonstop, or you're spiritually doing a lot, particularly in your dreams. I'm hearing for somebody on here. You are doing a lot. You do need to rest. There is a physical toll. You do need to replenish your energy. Replenishment, when we rest, whether it's just laying there and resting, that technically replenishing your energy is a different type of work. It's a different type of action, and it's flowing with that intuitive aspect. Whereas the other, the one who is drinking from the back nipple, which is how I'd prefer to give that metaphor. Thank you, Grandpa. They're more pushed out into the assertive or the action polarity energy of the masculine and feminine. So again, I'm being told to highlight this has zero to do with males and females in the physical aspects. This is about the energy. So the masculine energy and the feminine energy, which are polarities in and of themselves. So, I'm being told we have one more message, and it's regarding rulership of the moon. So lunar rulership and sun rulership. So I'm being told when we have a lunar rulership, we often think of the moon as the feminine energy polarity and the sun as the masculine energy, that side of the polarity. I'm being shown that the moon is a reflection of the sun. That's how we've been taught. So let's utilize that. If the moon is reflecting the full amplitude of the sun on a full moon, this also means that the masculine energy is moving into the feminine energy to support it, to illuminate what is needed to be seen. We can't always have the feminine illumination and the watery emotions. We also cannot always have dominant, assertive action of the sun. We require both. And I'm being told at this time, there's a lot of, this specifically is for divine feminine. There's a lot of divine feminines on the earth plane who have been in that watery, emotive, illumination, intuitive realms. And I'm literally being shown, I feel like this has to do with the twin flame concept or idea. You'll know if this is for you. I'm seeing the energy of the masculine polarity literally stepping into the feminine's energy, not to take it over, not to dominate, but to anchor, stabilize, and give it support. And I'm not sure why that is so important right now. I feel like it has to do with the Gemini moon, that the sign of Gemini is considered to be the twins. And I also feel like there's just this massive coming together of people who have been in separation, whether you've been in separation to do your own work, to grow, to evolve, to master your own energy. Everybody's is slightly different. Twin flames are not necessarily romantic relationships. However, that is how most of the collective views that relationship, I want to say. It's not necessarily a reflection of how I personally view it, but a lot of people attune to the fact that it's based on a romantic, where there's a masculine and a feminine, or you have two of the same sex partners where one is predominantly feminine, one is predominantly masculine. It's bringing both sides of the polarity into balance, each in its own right. But again, it's an interdependence in a coherent balance is what I'm hearing. So that twin flame aspect is really coming online. And whatever has been separated for whatever reason, I'm seeing like the separation being removed, almost like there's a barrier in between, and it being lifted up and removed, and a lot of people coming into divine unions. So I want to be clear, it's not just a divine union on a twin flame romantic level, but I'm hearing yes it is, which is fine. There's multiple aspects to this. These are divine unions. Some of you will, I'm hearing somebody's child. You'll feel like you have been separated from your child. You will find that you will be coming back into a divine union with that child, or they've learned their certain lessons, or you've both grown and evolved, and you're coming back together now in a completely metamorphosized, a completely different way. Those are divine unions as well, and soulmates and different aspects. So well, Spirit is dialing my dial to twin flames right now, asking for twin flame messages. I also want to highlight, this is divine unions of soulmates, soul groups, inner children. I'm seeing inner children all playing together. There's just many, many things coming together at the same time. There's just so many aspects I'm being shown right now. I feel like the purpose is just to touch on them so people don't equate this solely to the romantic twin flame concepts that is really threaded into our collective consciousness at this time. However, I'm being pulled back to the twin flames. This is the end of separation for a lot of people. I also wish to say there was a lot of false twin flames in the mix. I never promote twin flames as something that you should stay with if you are being abused, if you are in codependent relationships, if you are with narcissists, if you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically in any way, shape, or form being dominated in an unhealthy way. I do not promote that, nor that idea or concept of twin flames, nor pulling on people, nor manifesting them, nor trying to make them see. I do not agree with any of those things. I believe wholeheartedly in free will and honoring others' free will as much as consciously possible. In that aspect, they're saying there are many twin flames. I'm seeing two swans. One's a black swan and one's a white swan, and coming together almost like that yin yang balance. And that's what they're showing me. There's been many twin flames in separation, black swans and white swans. And I feel like these are twin flames that are the darkest of the dark and the lightest of the light, like absolute furthest polarity possible. That's what this dynamic is that they're showing me. But I'm actually seeing them come together, turning about face and coming back together. Not needing to make one like the other, but rather coming in to support. And Ava says, go back to the moon's mom. She says, show the lunar god and the lunar goddess. Normally the lunar god is actually the sun, right? The sun aspect, and the lunar goddess is the moon, the yin and the yang, the action and the receptivity, the giving and receiving. She says, this is important because oh my goodness. She says, when I was showing you the sun stepping in to support the moon, the masculine energies stepping into the feminine energies to support, anchor, and stabilize them. This is important because it's also the reference of the darkest of the dark and the lightest of the light coming together in a spiritual, energetic union to support one another so that the sun gets the moonlight that it needs and the moonlight gets the sun that it needs in order for each to operate at their absolute strongest, fullest, most expansive capacity. That is the purpose of twin flames. I know a lot of twin flame people who are on a twin flame journey, they relate to it as half of me is missing, or I don't feel whole without this person, or I feel less than. And I don't think less than is the right term, but they feel like that person has the thing that they need. It's like one's a receptacle and one's the plug, if that makes any sense. And yes, I'm being referenced also as well. It's the same as sexuality. And if you look at it in that aspect too, same as the receptacle and the plug. You could look at it any way you want to. It really is a yin and a yang. One supports the other. One's purpose is intrinsically tied to the other. What is the point of having plugs if there is no such thing as a receptacle to plug them into? And what's the point of a receptacle if there's no such thing as a plug and nobody needs a receptacle? It's that kind of aspect or idea, metaphor, concept. And I'm sure this is something all of you will understand and recognize. If this seems a little out there, please let me know in the comments, but it makes perfect sense to me the way that they're showing this to me and explaining it to me. So it's almost like there's lots of receptacles and outlets that have been, I'm seeing, saying no to plugs that don't fit. That's what I'm being shown for somebody on here, saying no to plugs that don't fit. Or there's a plug, a masculine energy, the assertive action energy, that is saying no to all the receptacles because one's a 3-prong and they're a 2-prong or whatever it is. Foreign, I'm being told foreign. One is a foreign plug and it doesn't go at all. It's like square peg, round hole. It's that idea. All the plugs are finding the right match for the receptacles, and all the pegs are finding the right shape, which they fit into perfectly. Everything's just coming into alignment, says Ava, and it's beautiful, and it's according to divine timing. There's somebody on here, I feel like you've been waiting a long time. I'm seeing it like a car, like you're driving your vessel and you're going down the road and you're in your car and you're rocking out and you're singing songs at the top of your lungs and you're just doing your thing. You don't require anything. You're just happily going down your road to where you need to be. Your partner, their car got stalled somewhere. Their car broke down before they came to the T or the cross to meet you. And I feel like you stopped and waited at the cross. And I feel like you waited a long time. This is somebody who's been on a twin flame journey for sure. You waited a long time until you realize they're not showing up. I'm just going to keep going. So it's almost like the person in the car that broke down, they're playing catch up right now. And I'd say playing catch up, not as they need to catch up. They do, but that was actually divinely timed. There was something that had to happen, needed to be done, needed to be understood when the car was broken down. So yes, they're playing catch up. You who's driving the car and is up ahead, just keep going. That's what Ava says. Always keep going. Never wait for another individual. Never stop your journey in hopes that somebody else will show up when you believe they are supposed to. Because remember, divine timing is never on our linear timing. It's very circular. There are many things at play. There are many interconnections. There are many things that have to happen perfectly to bring them to that exact meeting point or crossing point. So just keep going. Just be in your joy. Just do your thing. Don't worry about it. And I'm also being told for somebody on here, the person you thought you were waiting for is actually a false twin. Here's the words I'm getting. Somebody who is sent in to illuminate, activate, and trigger everything that needed to be healed. So for those of you who have been on a crazy twin flame journey, that was the purpose of that, and it's a false twin. I'm being reminded of the 2 channels that I did where they're 2 twin flame ones. I'll link those at the very end of this video. You can watch them if you feel called to. One was explaining the twin flame journey, and the other one was explaining the exalted twin flame or the exalted partnership, if for lack of a better term, because that's when it's no longer a twin flame journey. It's a whole. It's moving as a whole. It's like the yin and yang is not separate parts. It is one. It's whole. It's that union, I want to say. That's the exalted piece of it. So I'll link those at the end of this. I did not expect us to be talking about twin flames. I trust that this is what you needed to hear today. And I will leave these messages with you. Happy full moon in Sagittarius. Until next time.